the whole idea behind using advanced analytics, say building a predictive model, is that you can leverage data that you have today that's tucked away in your operational systems or data warehouses and extract some new insight that can change the way you do business in a positive way and give you information you haven't had before. One of the questions that I sometimes pull out when I'm talking to business leaders is ask yourself this question: if I only knew X, I would take action Y and I would benefit from result Z. And our goal is to define what X, Y, and Z are as it relates to whatever business initiative you have. That sets our objective for the predictive model, for example, but we've got to have the right data to build that model. We have to have information about the phenomenon that you're trying to model or predict. And that's usually available in your operational systems in some form or another. One key aspect of that data, though, is that we need to have what's called labeled data. We have to have historically what the outcome was of this thing that you're trying to predict, and that be recorded reliably over a certain period of history. And unless we have that, we can't really make a predictive model. We can do other kinds of analytics. So if you don't have it, that doesn't mean that there's not value you can derive from your data. But if you want to go the predictive route, then you've got to have that labeled data. So generally, you can derive that labeled data from your operational systems. And that's one of the tasks that we do in what we call data preparation. Getting your data and getting your data ready for modeling is what we call data preparation. And what types of data are we talking about here? We're talking about data from your operational systems, like it could be your ERP or your manufacturing system or your ordering system and your fulfillment systems. Though those systems are running all the time and they're generating lots of information, and it's all there in your operational systems. If you have a data warehouse where some of that data has already been managed and cleaned and maybe joined up with other data that's available in your system, like customer data, for example, then you're that much further ahead because you know the data is probably in a cleaner state than if you get it from the raw source systems or the operational systems. But regardless, if you have a data warehouse, wonderful. If not, we work with the operational systems and we do the cleaning inside NEMESIS. So NEMESIS data preparation involves several pieces. It involves bringing data in, sourcing the data is another term we use for that, cleansing the data. So data that comes from raw operational systems is usually kind of messy. It may have some missing values. It may have data that's not in quite the right format. So it might be a date that's in a text format, and we really need it to be in a date format so we can calculate durations of time from it or whatever. And that cleansing of the data is something we can do easily with NEMESIS. The other thing that we do other than cleanse data is we transform it. So while your source data that you're getting from your operational systems has valuable data elements in it, sometimes we need to derive new elements from those original elements to make a useful input to a model. An example might be, I have a manufacturing process that runs, it produces a certain amount of output, and it takes a certain amount of time to produce that output. Well, in the model, I could put in the output, I could put in the time, but maybe what would be better is to have a ratio of how much output did I get in this amount of time. And so I need to calculate that ratio. And the ratio now has more information. It's giving me some sort of degree of success of output, and that made me more predictive than the raw data by itself. So often in data science and in predictive modeling, we are generating new metrics from your operational data, and those new metrics are what goes into the model. With NEMESIS data preparation capabilities, it's easy to build new metrics and transform your data in some way. Another thing that we're doing in data preparation is joining data together. So I get data from your manufacturing system. I may also want data from your vendor system, your supplier system. I may need some data from your quality control system. And I bring all those together and join them together inside NEMESIS. If you have a data warehouse, they may already be joined together, and that's a step that you don't have to do in NEMESIS. But when you face that with data from different places, you need to join them together to make it more useful, to transform it in more useful ways. Another approach to getting innovative and new insights from your data is to bring in third-party data. And by third party, I mean data that's not yours, not from your operational systems, not a part of your normal business activity, but that could provide some useful information, new information that when put in on a model gives you this new insight that you hadn't had before. A common example of that might be, I have this customer data, but I don't know a lot about my customers. I know their name and their address maybe, and I know how much they've purchased from us and things like that. But maybe I don't know a lot about their demographics. So I can go out to the census, get some data from the census for free, and match that up with my customer data. And now I know what their socioeconomic status is, what kind of neighborhood they live in statistics about that neighborhood. And now all of a sudden I have a bigger, more robust profile of that customer. And I can put that in my models in addition to the data you're getting from your own systems. And now I can get insights that I wouldn't have otherwise got.